My boyfriend only wants to date me because I look like his ex-wife. I held the ponytail holder between my teeth and twisted my hair into a low bun, the way he'd asked me to wear it that morning. Something about it looking elegant, clean. When I glanced up, he was staring again. Not at me, through me. He stood near the kitchen counter with his coffee halfway to his lips, eyes locked on the back of my head like I'd just performed a magic trick. A small smile tugged at the corner of his mouth. Private, unsettling. What? I asked, letting my hands drop. He blinked. The smile didn't fade. Nothing, he set the mug down too carefully. You look really pretty like that. You're staring. I'm admiring. You look like you've seen a ghost. His jaw tightened. He turned toward the sink and rinsed his mug even though it was still full. I don't know what you mean. You do that a lot lately. I crossed my arms. Smile to yourself when I'm just existing. Like I said something funny and didn't realize it. I think you're overthinking. Then tell me what's funny. He didn't answer. Water ran over his hands. He scrubbed the mug harder than it needed. Who's her? I asked. His shoulders locked. The faucet kept running. He shut it off slowly like he was buying time, then turned and leaned against the counter with his arms folded. What are you talking about? You said it last week, when I got frustrated about the landlord ignoring my calls. You looked at me and said, you look just like her when you're mad. I stepped closer. So who is she? He exhaled through his nose and looked at the floor. I was married before. I know that. She left. You said she walked out. That's what you told me on our third date. She did. His voice went flat. One night she packed a bag and never came back. No note, no explanation, just gone. I waited. He didn't look up. And you see her when you look at me? No. He shook his head too fast. That's not what Then what? You remind me of her sometimes, that's all. It's not a bad thing. It feels like a bad thing. It's not. He finally met my eyes. I wouldn't be with you if I didn't want you. The words landed wrong. Want, not love, not need. Want. I turned and grabbed my bag off the chair. I'm going to the gym. Wait, I need air. I left before he could follow. That night, I came back to find him asleep on the couch, one arm draped over his face, phone resting on his chest. The TV played some nature documentary on mute. I stood in the doorway and watched him breathe. Then I walked over and picked up his phone. No passcode. He'd never set one. Said he had nothing to hide. I opened his photos. The gallery stretched back years. Most of it mundane. Coffee cups, sunsets, blurry shots of dogs at the park. I scrolled faster, looking for anything that felt like proof I wasn't imagining things. Then I saw her. She stood in front of a brick building, arms crossed, head tilted just slightly to the left. Same haircut I wore now. Same length, same center part. She had on a navy sweater I'd seen in his closet, the one he'd told me to try on last month because it would look perfect on me. Silver hoops in her ears, the same ones he'd bought me for my birthday, claiming he'd seen them in a shop window and thought of me instantly. I zoomed in. A small scar curved near her wrist, same place as mine, same shape. I scrolled further. Another photo. She wore the dress I'd bought 2 weeks ago. He'd smiled when I showed him, said it was exactly my style, like I'd been born to wear it. Another. Her laughing in a car, hair tied back in a low bun. Another. Standing in this apartment, this couch, that lamp. My hand shook. I locked the phone and set it back on his chest. He didn't stir. I walked into the bedroom, sat on the edge of the bed, and stared at the wall until my eyes burned. I didn't sleep. I sat on the bed with my knees pulled to my chest and watched the clock on the nightstand tick forward until the numbers blurred. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw her face. My face. The same angles. The same expression. When light finally crept through the blinds, I heard him moving in the kitchen. Cabinets opening. The hiss of the coffee maker. The scrape of a pan across the stove. I forced myself up, washed my face, and walked out to find him plating eggs like nothing had happened. Morning, sweetheart, he said without looking up. The word stuck in my throat. Sweetheart. He'd started calling me that a month ago. I'd never liked it. It felt borrowed, like he was reading from a script he'd memorized years before I existed. Morning, I said. He turned and smiled. Too bright, too eager. I made your favorite. Scrambled with cheese, toast on the side. He set the plate on the table and pulled out my chair. Sit. You barely ate yesterday. I didn't move. We need to talk. His smile faltered. About what? I pulled my phone from my pocket and opened the photo I'd sent myself last night. Her in the navy sweater. Her in the silver hoops. Her standing in this apartment like she still lived here. I held it up. About her. He froze with the spatula still in his hand. For a moment, he didn't breathe. Then he set it down slowly and wiped his palms on his jeans. Where did you get that? Your phone? Last night, while you were asleep? He didn't ask why I'd looked. He just stared at the screen like it might disappear if he waited long enough. You want to explain? I asked. He pulled out the chair across from me and sat. His hands folded on the table. Fingers laced too tight. I told you I was married before. You said she left. She did. Then why do you still have photos of her wearing my clothes? In this apartment? In my earrings? They're not your earrings. His voice came out quiet, hollow. I bought them for her years ago. She loved them. Wore them every day until he stopped. Swallowed. Until she didn't. The room went cold. So you bought me the same ones. I thought, he looked down at his hands. I thought it would feel different if someone else wore them. If I could see them again without, his voice cracked, without remembering the last time I saw her. I set the phone on the table. What happened to her? I don't know. He said it too fast. She packed a bag one night and walked out. No fight, no warning. I came home from work and half her closet was empty. I called her for weeks. Drove to her sister's place. Filed a missing person report. Nothing. She just vanished. And you never found her. No. How long ago? 3 years. I stared at him. 3 years and you're still dressing me like her? I'm not. You are. I stood. The sweater, the earrings, the dress I bought 2 weeks ago. You smiled when I showed it to you. Said it was perfect. But she wore it first, didn't she? He didn't answer. Didn't she? Yes. The word came out broken. But I didn't plan it. I swear. When I met you, I thought, he looked up, eyes red. I thought maybe it was a sign. That I was supposed to meet someone who reminded me of the good parts. Someone who could help me move on. By becoming her? No, he shook his head. By helping me forget. Then why do you keep staring at me like I'm going to disappear too? His mouth opened, closed. He had no answer. I grabbed my bag off the counter. I need to go. Please don't. He stood. I know how this sounds. I know it's. He reached for my hand. I pulled back. I'm not trying to replace her. I swear. His voice dropped. You even laugh like she did. The words hit like a slap. I stepped back. What did you just say? I didn't mean. Yes, you did. My voice shook. You meant every word, every compliment. Every time you smiled at me like I'd done something magical when all I did was exist. I backed toward the door. You don't love me. You love that I remind you of someone who's gone. That's not true. Then say my name. He blinked. What? Say it right now. Say my name. His lips parted. Nothing came out. I turned and walked out. I made it to my car before my hands started shaking. I gripped the steering wheel and stared at the dashboard, trying to breathe, trying to think, but all I could hear was his voice looping in my head. You even laughed like she did. I started the engine and pulled onto the street, driving on autopilot toward work, but my mind wouldn't stop racing. Every compliment replayed with new context. Every smile. Every time he'd touched my hair or adjusted my collar or told me I looked beautiful in something I hadn't chosen for myself. He'd been styling me, shaping me, turning me into a version of someone I'd never met. I pulled into the parking lot and sat with the engine running, staring at nothing. I wasn't his girlfriend. I was a stand-in, and somewhere in the back of my mind a darker thought crept in, one I didn't want to name but couldn't ignore. If she disappeared without a trace, what did he think would happen to me? I called in sick, sat in my apartment with the curtains drawn and my phone face down on the coffee table. I couldn't go back to work pretending everything was normal, couldn't smile at coworkers or answer emails when all I could think about was the look on his face when I asked him to say my name. He texted an hour later. I'm sorry, can we please talk? I deleted it. Another came 5 minutes after. I didn't mean to make you feel like that. You're not her. I know you're not. I turned my phone off. By evening, I'd convinced myself I was overreacting. Maybe he was just grieving. Maybe I'd misread the whole thing. People dealt with loss in strange ways. That didn't make him dangerous. It made him broken. I turned my phone back on and saw 12 more messages. The last one said, I bought dinner, your favorite. Please come over. I stared at the screen. Part of me wanted to block him. The other part, the part that had spent 2 years alone before meeting him, wanted to believe I was wrong. I drove over. He opened the door before I knocked, like he'd been waiting by the window. His eyes were red, hair disheveled. He looked smaller somehow. Thank you, he said, for coming back. I didn't correct him. I hadn't come back. I'd come to end it cleanly. The table was set, candles lit, takeout containers from the Thai place I'd mentioned once, months ago. He'd remembered. Of course he had. He remembered everything. Sit, he said, please. I sat. He served the food in silence, hands steady, movements careful. When he finally looked at me, his voice was soft. I know I scared you. I didn't mean to. He paused, exhaled. I've been holding on to her for too long. I see that now. Then let her go. I'm trying. He reached across the table. I didn't pull back. His fingers brushed mine. You make me want to try. You're nothing like her, you know. Not really. You're stronger, more patient. She would have left the second He stopped himself. I don't want to lose you the way I lost her. You didn't lose her. She left. Same thing. It's not. He withdrew his hand, looked down at his plate. You're right. I'm sorry. I keep saying the wrong thing. We ate in silence. The food tasted like nothing. Halfway through, he said, I threw the photos away. I looked up. All of them, he continued. The ones on my phone, the ones in the drawer. I don't need them anymore. He met my eyes. I only need you. The words should have been reassuring. They weren't. What about the earrings? I asked. He hesitated. I can get rid of those too, if that's what you want. It's not about what I want. It's about why you gave them to me in the first place. Because they're beautiful, and you're beautiful. And she wore them first. His jaw tightened. I can't change the past. I'm not asking you to. I'm asking you to stop making me live in it. He stood abruptly, grabbed his plate, and walked to the sink. Water ran. Dishes clattered. When he turned back, his expression had shifted. Softer. Wounded. I'm trying, he said again. I really am. But every time I think we're okay, you pull away. I don't know what else to do. Guilt wormed its way into my chest. Maybe I was being unfair. Maybe I was punishing him for something he couldn't control. I stayed the night. Over the next 2 weeks, things felt almost normal. He stopped mentioning her. Stopped staring. We went to dinner, watched movies, fell into the same routines we'd had before. But small things started shifting. You should wear your hair down more, he said one morning while I was getting ready for work. It suits you better. I'd been tying it up every day for months. He'd never commented before. I like it up, I said. I know, I just think, he smiled. You have such a pretty face. Why hide it? I left it down. A few days later, he bought me perfume. Light. Floral. Not my usual. I thought you'd like something softer, he said when I opened the box. Your other one's a little heavy. I'd been wearing the same scent for 3 years. Try it, he urged. I did. It smelled like springtime. Like someone else. Perfect, he said. That's the one. I wore it the next day. And the day after. Not because I liked it. Because it was easier than explaining why I didn't. Then he started talking about my hair again. Have you ever thought about growing it out? He asked one night while we were watching TV. His fingers traced the ends where they brushed my shoulders. Just a little longer. I think it would look amazing on you. I like it this length. I know. I'm just saying. He kissed the top of my head. You'd look even more beautiful, if that's possible. I didn't respond. 2 days later, I caught him scrolling through photos on his phone. Old ones. I couldn't see the screen, but I saw the way his thumb moved. Slow, deliberate, like he was memorizing something. What are you looking at? I asked. He locked the screen. Nothing. Just work stuff. Didn't look like work. It was. He set the phone down. Why? You don't trust me now? The question caught me off guard. I didn't say that. You didn't have to. He stood. I told you I deleted those photos. If you don't believe me, that's on you. He walked into the bedroom and closed the door. I sat there, stunned. Somehow I was the one who'd done something wrong. The next night, I waited until he was asleep. Then I took his laptop from the desk and opened it in the bathroom with the door locked and the fan running. His email was already logged in. I scrolled through the inbox. Bills, spam, work threads, nothing unusual. Then I checked the trash folder. Account recovery emails, dozens of them. All linked to her name, passwords reset, security questions updated. The most recent one was from 6 months ago. 6 months, 3 months before we met. I opened his cloud storage. There was a folder labeled memories. I clicked it. Photos loaded one by one. Her in the apartment, her in the park, her wearing the navy sweater, the silver hoops, the black dress, her smiling at the camera like she had no idea what was coming. And then photos of me. Same angles, same locations, same clothes. I scrolled faster. Me in the park where she'd stood, me in the sweater, me in the earrings, me laughing at something off camera, my head tilted the exact same way hers had been. The bathroom door opened. He stood in the doorway, eyes on the laptop screen. What are you doing? His voice was calm, too calm. What is this? I turned the screen toward record him. Why do you have these? Those are private. Answer me. You went through my computer. He stepped inside. You invaded my privacy. You've been recreating her with me. That's not. He stopped, ran a hand through his hair. You don't understand. Then explain. I can't. His voice cracked. You'll leave. I'm already halfway out the door. I'm not her. I know. His eyes filled. But you could be, if you wanted. You're so close already. The air left the room. What did you just say? I didn't mean. Yes, you did. He reached for my hand. I jerked back. The laptop slid off my lap and clattered onto the tile. Please, he said. Don't go, not like she did. I grabbed the laptop, shoved past him, and walked out. This time I didn't look back. I stayed at my best friend Claire's apartment that night. Showed up at midnight with my phone dying and my hands shaking. She took one look at my face and pulled me inside. What happened? I couldn't say it out loud. Not yet. So I showed her the photos instead. Scrolled through the screenshots I'd taken before walking out. She stared at the screen. Her jaw tightened. He's been doing this the whole time? I think so. And you're just now leaving? I didn't know. She handed the phone back. Stay here tonight. We'll figure the rest out tomorrow. I slept on her couch. Woke up at 6 with 17 missed calls and 43 texts. All from him. Please come home. I didn't mean what I said. You're overreacting. I love you, not her. I need you to understand that. Why won't you answer me? Are you safe? Please just tell me you're safe. I turned the phone off and put it in a drawer. Claire made coffee. Sat across from me at the kitchen table. You need to block him. I will. When? Soon. That's not an answer. I stopped. Rubbed my eyes. I need to think. About what? He's been dressing you up like his dead ex. She's not dead. How do you know? The question hung in the air. I didn't have an answer. Claire leaned forward. Listen to me. I've watched you shrink over the past few months. You stopped coming to dinners, stopped returning calls. Every time I ask if you're okay, you say you're fine, but you're not fine. You look exhausted. And now I know why. He didn't force me to do anything. He didn't have to. That's how this works. She reached across the table. You're not overreacting. You're finally reacting. I wanted to argue. Wanted to tell her she was wrong, but I couldn't. By the time I left her place that afternoon, I'd promised to stay away from him for at least a week. Give myself space. Let the fog clear. I lasted 3 days. He showed up at my apartment on the 4th night. Knocked softly. Called my name through the door. I know you're in there. I just want to talk, please. I didn't answer. I'm not leaving until you open the door. I stood on the other side, hand on the knob, heart hammering. I threw everything away, he said. The photos, the clothes, all of it. I went through the entire apartment and got rid of anything that reminded me of her. It's done. I swear. Silence. I'm seeing someone, he continued. A therapist. I had my first session yesterday. She said I've been using you as a coping mechanism, that I haven't processed the loss. She's right. I know she's right, but I want to fix it. I want to fix us. I opened the door. He looked worse than I'd ever seen him. Eyes bloodshot, clothes wrinkled. He hadn't shaved in days. Thank you, he said, for hearing me out. I'm listening. That's all. That's enough. He stepped inside. I didn't stop him. I know I hurt you. I know I made you feel like you were just, he paused, swallowed, like you were a replacement, but you're not. You never were. I just got confused. I couldn't see the difference between missing her and loving you. And now you can? I'm trying. He reached for my hand. I let him take it. I'll do whatever it takes. Therapy, space, anything. Just don't give up on me yet. The words sounded right. They felt right. But somewhere underneath, something still didn't fit. I need time, I said. How much? I don't know. Okay, he nodded. Okay, I can wait. He left without pushing further. I locked the door behind him and told myself I'd made the right choice. But over the next week, things got stranger. Claire stopped answering my calls. When I finally got through, her voice was cold. Are you back with him? No, we're just... He called me. My stomach dropped. When? 2 days ago. Said he was worried about you. That you'd been acting erratic, unstable. He wanted to know if I'd noticed anything. What did you say? I told him to leave you alone. Then he said you'd been lying to him about where you were staying. That you told him you were at my place, but when he drove by, your car wasn't there. I never told him I was at your place. I know. That's why I'm telling you. She paused. He's keeping tabs on you, and he's trying to make it seem like you're the problem. He's not. Listen to yourself. You're defending him. I'm not. I'm just saying he's isolating you, and it's working. She hung up. I stared at my phone. Tried to call her back. It went straight to voicemail. The next night, I ran into another friend at the grocery store. Someone I used to meet for lunch every other week. We hadn't spoken in over a month. Hey, I said. I've been meaning to reach out. She gave me a tight smile. Yeah, me too. Everything okay? Is it? She shifted her basket to the other arm. Because your boyfriend called me last week asking if I'd seen you. Said you'd been going through something and he was worried you might hurt yourself. The floor tilted. I figured, but he sounded really convincing. Said you'd been having mood swings, missing work, refusing help. She looked at me carefully. Are you okay? I'm fine. Are you sure? Because if you need someone to talk to... She didn't believe me. I could see it in her face, but she didn't push. Take care of yourself, she said, and walked away. I stood in the middle of the aisle, surrounded by strangers, and realized I had no idea who still believed me. That night, I couldn't sleep. Lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, replaying every conversation, every text, every time he'd smiled and said he was trying. Around 2 in the morning, I gave up, got out of bed and poured a glass of water, sat on the couch in the dark. My phone buzzed. A text from him. Are you awake? Another buzz. I can't stop thinking about her. I'm sorry, I know I'm not supposed to, but tonight it's really bad. My chest tightened. I keep seeing her face, hearing her voice. It's like she's still here. I typed a response, deleted it, typed another. You should call your therapist. 3 dots appeared, disappeared, appeared again. I don't want to bother her this late. Can I come over? No. Please, I just need to be near someone who understands. I can't. The dots stopped. No response. I set the phone down and tried to breathe. 10 minutes later, I heard something outside my door. Faint, like someone shifting their weight. I stood, walked to the peephole. He was sitting on the floor in the hallway, back against the wall, phone in his hand, scrolling, smiling softly at the screen. I couldn't hear him through the door, but I could see his lips moving, whispering a name that wasn't mine. I stepped back, locked the deadbolt as quietly as I could, turned off every light, sat on the floor with my knees pulled to my chest, and waited for him to leave. leave. He didn't. When I woke up the next morning, he was gone. But there was a note slipped under the door. I'm sorry I scared you. I'll give you space, I promise. I crumpled it and threw it in the trash. Then I opened my closet to get dressed for work. Everything was different. My jeans were gone, my oversized sweaters, my sneakers, all of it replaced with clothes I didn't recognize, fitted dresses, cardigans, delicate blouses in colors I never wore. I pulled one off the hanger, held it up to the light. It was the same dress from the photos, the one she'd worn in the park. My hand started shaking. I checked the rest of the closet. Every piece matched something I'd seen in those images, down to the shoes lined up neatly at the bottom. I grabbed my phone and called him. He answered on the first ring. When did you come into my apartment? Answer me. You gave me a key, he said quietly. Months ago. That doesn't give you the right. I thought you'd like them. You always said you wanted to dress nicer. I never said that. You did, you just don't remember. His voice softened. I'm trying to help you, to make things easier. Why are you making this so hard? I hung up. Changed the locks that afternoon. I spent the rest of that day sitting on my bedroom floor with every drawer pulled open, checking for things that didn't belong. Found a pair of earrings I'd never bought tucked into my jewelry box. A lipstick shade I'd never worn sitting on my bathroom counter. A framed photo of the two of us on my nightstand that I didn't remember taking. In the picture I was smiling, hair pulled back, wearing a cardigan I didn't own anymore. Except I did own it now. It was hanging in my closet. I took the frame and shoved it into the back of a drawer. Then I sat on the edge of the bed and forced myself to think clearly. He had a key. He'd been coming in while I was at work, rearranging things, replacing things, slowly turning my space into hers. And I'd let him. I called a locksmith, paid extra for same-day service, watched him install a new deadbolt and refused to feel guilty about it. When he texted that night asking if we could talk, I didn't answer. When he called, I let it ring. By the third call, I turned my phone off entirely and went to bed early. The next morning, I woke up with a plan. I drove to a print shop across town, pulled up every photo I'd screenshotted from his phone and had them printed. Full color. 8 by 10. 23 pictures total. The woman behind the counter asked if I wanted them matted. No, just printed. She handed me the stack in a manila envelope. I paid cash and left. Back at my apartment, I spread them across the kitchen table, studied each one carefully. The way she smiled, the tilt of her head, the clothes she wore in each shot. Then I pulled up my own photos, scrolled back through the past 6 months, compared. It was worse than I thought. In March, I'd cut my hair. 2 weeks later, he'd suggested I grow it out again. Said he liked it longer. In April, I'd worn a dress to dinner. He'd stared at me the entire night, told me I looked perfect. Bought me 3 more in the same style the following week. In May, I'd started wearing a necklace my sister gave me for my birthday. He'd asked where I got it. When I told him, he went quiet. The next day, he gave me a different necklace. Said it suited me better. I'd worn his instead. Every choice I thought I'd made had been guided, adjusted, redirected. I wasn't dressing like her by accident. I was dressing like her because he'd made sure I would. I taped the photos to the wall beside my bathroom mirror, one by one. Then I stood in front of them and started matching. Hair pulled back into a low ponytail. Same angle. Lipstick in a shade close enough to pass. The cardigan from my closet. The one I hadn't bought. I stared at my reflection, then at her face, then back again. We could have been the same person. I took a picture, sent it to Claire. She called immediately. What the hell is that? Proof. Of what? That I'm not crazy. I never said you were. Everyone else did. I sat down on the bathroom floor. He's been telling people I'm unstable, that I'm imagining things, but I'm not. He's been doing this on purpose. Doing what? Turning me into her. Silence on the other end. Claire, I'm here. Her voice was quieter now. What are you going to do? I don't know yet. You need to go to the police. And say what? That my boyfriend has bad taste in a dead ex? She's not dead. How do you know? Another pause. Because if she were dead, he wouldn't still be looking for her. The words landed hard. I hung up and sat there for a long time, staring at the photos on the wall. Then I started taking notes. Every time he'd corrected me. Every gift that wasn't really a gift. Every moment he'd smiled at me like I was someone else. I filled 4 pages in an hour. When I was done, I read it all back and realized something. He wasn't trying to replace her. He was trying to remake her. And I was the clay. That night, he texted again. I know you're upset. I understand. But I need you to know I'm not trying to hurt you. I stared at the message. Didn't respond. Another text. I threw the key away. I'm not coming back unless you ask me to. I wanted to believe him, but I didn't. Instead, I went into my closet and pulled out every piece of clothing he'd bought me. Every dress, every cardigan, every delicate, awful thing that didn't feel like mine. I laid them all out on the bed. Then I pulled up the photos again and matched each item to a picture. Every single one had a twin. I took pictures of the layout, sent them to Claire. She didn't respond. I tried calling. It went to voicemail. So I called my sister instead. Hey, she said. I've been meaning to check in. Are you okay? Why wouldn't I be? Your boyfriend called me last week. My stomach dropped. What did he say? That you've been struggling. That you've been pulling away from people. He wanted to know if I'd noticed anything. And what did you tell him? I told him I hadn't talked to you in a while. She hesitated. But honestly, I was starting to get worried. You've been kind of distant. Because of him. What? He's been isolating me. And then telling people I'm isolating myself. She went quiet. I'm not making this up, I said. I didn't say you were, but you're thinking it. No, I'm thinking you sound scared, and I don't know how to help. I closed my eyes. I need you to believe me. I do. Do you? Yes. Her voice was firm now. What do you need? I need to know I'm not losing my mind. You're not. Because the way you're talking right now, that's not someone who's confused. That's someone who's finally seeing clearly. I felt something crack open in my chest. Thank you. Don't thank me yet. Just tell me what you're going to do. I'm going to end it. How? I don't know, but it has to be final. No second chances, no reconciliation. I need him to understand it's over. Be careful. I will. I hung up and stood in front of the mirror again. Looked at the photos taped to the wall. Looked at my own face staring back. Then I started planning. If he wanted her, I'd give him one last look. One final performance. And then I'd make sure he never mistook me for a ghost again. I pulled the cardigan off the bed. Slipped it on. Adjusted my hair to match the photo on the left. Stared at my reflection until I stopped recognizing myself. Then I picked up my phone and sent him a text. We need to talk tomorrow night, my place. He responded in seconds. I'll be there. I set the phone down, took one last look at the woman in the mirror, and started rehearsing my lines. I woke up before sunrise and didn't try to go back to sleep. Just lay there staring at the ceiling until the room turned gray, then got up and started getting ready. Shower first, long and hot. Washed my hair twice and let the conditioner sit while I scrubbed every inch of my skin. When I got out, I wrapped myself in a towel and stood in front of the mirror, steam still clinging to the glass. The photos were still taped to the wall. I'd left them up on purpose. I started with my hair. Blow-dried it smooth, no texture. Parted on the left. Pulled it back into a low ponytail with a black elastic, same as the one in the third photo. Tucked a loose strand behind my ear and secured it with a bobby pin. Makeup next. Foundation 2 shades lighter than I usually wore. Blush high on the cheekbones. Lipstick in a soft coral shade I'd bought yesterday on my way home. It looked wrong on me. Too delicate, too sweet. Perfect. I lined my eyes the way she had. Thin, precise. No wing, just a soft definition that made me look younger, more vulnerable. When I was finished, I stared at my reflection and barely recognized myself. I looked softer, quieter, like someone who wouldn't argue back, like her. I went into the bedroom and pulled the dress from the closet, pale blue with small white flowers, buttons down the front. He'd bought it for me in June and told me it made me look angelic. I'd worn it twice before realizing it wasn't my style. Too modest, too careful, but it was hers. I slipped it on and buttoned it slowly, checking each one in the mirror. Then I added the earrings. Small gold hoops with a tiny pearl drop. He'd given them to me for no reason on a Tuesday afternoon. Said he'd seen them and thought of me, except he hadn't thought of me at all. I fastened them and turned my head side to side, watching the pearls catch the light. Last thing, the necklace. Thin gold chain with a small pendant. I'd found it in a drawer last week, still in its box, tags attached. He'd never given it to me directly, just left it where I'd find it. I put it on and adjusted the clasp. Then I stepped back and looked at the full picture. She stared back at me from every angle. I took a photo, sent it to Claire with no caption. She called immediately. What are you doing? Ending it? Like that? Exactly like this. You're going to scare him. Good. I'm serious. If he's as unstable as you think, he's not unstable. He's obsessed. There's a difference. I don't think there is. I'm not asking for permission, Claire. I'm telling you what's happening so someone knows. Silence. If I don't text you by 8 tonight, call the police. This is a bad idea. Probably. I hung up before she could argue further. I spent the rest of the morning cleaning, vacuumed, wiped down surfaces, moved the kitchen table so there was more open space, set a chair in the center of the room facing the door. Then I pulled the printed photos from the bedroom and spread them across the table in a grid. 23 images. All of her. All of me. I stepped back and looked at the arrangement. It was clinical, deliberate, undeniable. At 6:30, I made coffee, drank half a cup standing by the window, watched the street below, counted cars, tried not to think too hard about what I was doing. At 7, my phone buzzed. On my way, be there in 10. I didn't respond. Just set the phone on the counter and sat down in the chair, straightened my dress, adjusted the necklace, folded my hands in my lap, and waited. He knocked at 7:12. I didn't get up right away. Let him knock again. Heard his voice through the door. It's me. Can I come in? I stood slowly, walked to the door, unlocked it but didn't open it all the way. Just enough for him to see me standing there. His face changed the second he did. Eyes widened, lips parted slightly. He took a step back like I'd pushed him. Lena, he whispered. Not my name. I didn't correct him. Just stepped aside and gestured for him to come in. He walked past me slowly, staring the whole time. I closed the door behind him and locked it. Then I turned and watched him take in the room. The photos on the table caught his attention first. He moved toward them without thinking, like he was being pulled. Stopped a few feet away and stared down at the grid. What is this? You tell me. He picked up one of the photos. The one of her sitting on a porch step, smiling at the camera. He held it for a long time without saying anything. Where did you get these? Your phone. He set the photo down carefully. You went through my phone. You went through my closet. His jaw tightened. I walked past him and sat back down in the chair. Crossed my legs. Folded my hands again. Waited. He turned to face me and his breath caught again. Just for a second. But I heard it. You look like her? He didn't answer. That's the point, I said. I wanted to see if you'd notice. Notice what? That you don't see me at all. He shook his head. Started to say something, stopped. Ran a hand through his hair. I don't know what you think is happening here, but I think you've been dressing me like your ex-wife for 6 months. I think you've been rearranging my apartment to match hers. I think every time you look at me, you're pretending I'm someone else. That's not true. Then why did you call me Lena 30 seconds ago? His face went pale. I stood up and walked to the table. Picked up another photo. Her in a cardigan. Hair pulled back. Same earrings I was wearing now. This was taken 3 years ago, I said. But I wore this exact outfit last month. Same cardigan, same hairstyle, same jewelry. You bought all of it for me. Told me it suited me. That I looked perfect. I set the photo down and picked up another. This one, the necklace. You left it in my drawer like a surprise. But it's not a surprise if she wore it first. Another photo. This dress. You said it made me look angelic. But you didn't buy it for me. You bought it because she had one just like it. I spread the rest of the photos out in front of him. Every single piece of clothing you've given me matches something she wore. Every compliment you've ever paid me was about how much I reminded you of her. Every time you smiled at me, you were smiling at a ghost. He was shaking his head. You don't understand. Then explain it. I loved her. I know. She left me. His voice cracked. She just walked out one night and never came back. No note, no explanation. I came home and she was gone. So you decided to rebuild her? No. He looked at me with something close to desperation. I didn't plan this. I didn't even realize I was doing it until when? Until you cut your hair. He swallowed hard. And I asked you to grow it back. And you did. And I thought maybe what? Maybe it was a sign. He stepped closer. Maybe you were supposed to be here. Maybe this was fate trying to fix what I lost. I stared at him. You don't actually believe that. I do. Then you're delusional. He flinched like I'd slapped him. I picked up the photo of her smiling on the porch and held it up between us. Do you see me anywhere in this picture? Do you see me in any of these? Still nothing. I set the photo down. That's what I thought. He reached for my hand. I stepped back. Please, he said. I know I made mistakes. I know I hurt you. But we can fix this. We can start over. Clean slate. No more photos. No more comparisons. Just us. There is no us. There could be. No, I shook my head. Because even if I forgave you, even if I pretended this never happened, you'd still see her every time you looked at me. And I'd spend the rest of my life wondering if anything you said was actually meant for me. I can change. You don't need to change. I walked to the counter and picked up the mirror I'd set there earlier. Small, handheld, the kind you use to check the back of your hair. I held it out to him. You need therapy. He stared at the mirror like it might bite him. Take it. He did. Slowly. Held it at his side without looking. Look at it, I said. Why? Because I want you to see what I see. He lifted the mirror, looked at his own reflection, confused at first, then something else. something that looked like recognition. She's not coming back, I said quietly. And neither am I. His hand started to shake. The mirror tilted. He stared at his own face like he was seeing it for the first time in years. I'm sorry, he whispered. I didn't mean to. He set the mirror down on the table, looked at me one last time. Not at the dress, not at the hair, at me. Actually me. And I saw the exact moment he realized I was already gone. I walked to the door and opened it. You should leave. He didn't argue. Just picked up his keys from the counter and walked past me into the hallway. Stopped just outside the door and turned back. I really did care about you. Maybe, but not enough to see me. He nodded slowly, then he walked away. I watched him disappear down the stairs, listened to the front door open and close, waited until I heard his car start and pull away. Then I closed the door, locked it, and stood there for a long time with my back against the wood. When I finally moved, I went straight to the bathroom, pulled the bobby pin out of my hair, unwound the ponytail, wiped the lipstick off with the back of my hand, took off the earrings and the necklace and dropped them into the trash. Looked at myself in the mirror. I looked tired, raw, real. I looked like me. I grabbed the photos off the wall and tore them down one by one. Didn't fold them, didn't save them. Just ripped them in half and dropped them into the trash with the jewelry. Then I went into the bedroom and pulled every piece of clothing he'd ever bought me out of the closet. Dresses, cardigans, delicate, awful things. Shoved them all into a garbage bag and tied it shut. Set it by the door to donate tomorrow. My phone buzzed. Claire, you okay? I typed back. Yeah, it's over. For real? For real. Good. I'm proud of you. I set the phone down and sat on the edge of the bed. The apartment felt quieter now. Lighter. Like something heavy had finally been lifted. I pulled off the dress and left it on the floor. Put on sweatpants and an old t-shirt. Pulled my hair into a messy bun. Then I walked into the kitchen. Grabbed the coffee I'd made hours ago and reheated it in the microwave. Sat down at the table. Looked at the empty space where the photos had been. And for the first time in months, I felt like I could breathe. I finished the coffee cold. Didn't bother reheating it again. Just drank it standing at the sink and rinsed the cup when I was done. Then I grabbed the garbage bag from by the door, slung it over my shoulder, and left. The morning air was sharp, clean. I walked 3 blocks to the donation center and dropped the bag in the bin outside without opening it. Heard the soft thud as it landed at the bottom. Kept walking. His car was still parked down the street. I saw it from half a block away and almost turned around, but I didn't. Just kept my eyes forward and my pace steady. When I passed it, I pulled the duplicate earrings from my pocket, the ones I'd bought yesterday to complete the look, and dropped them on the hood without slowing down. Heard them hit the metal with a faint clink. Didn't look back. A few blocks later, I caught my reflection in a shop window. Hair messy, no makeup, sweatpants and an old shirt. Still shaking a little, still raw. But mine. My phone buzzed in my pocket. I pulled it out without stopping. His name on the screen. We can start again, please. I deleted it without reading past the preview. Slipped the phone back into my pocket and kept walking. The sun was higher now, warm on my face. I smiled at my reflection as I passed another window, and kept going.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and drop your favorite part in the comments. See you in the next one.